website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey, a cool comment below the previous video, which was about that it's sometimes easier to play fusion solos than rock solos. And you should go back and watch that if you haven't. And there was a question which is basically about whether or not I'm saying that fusion players are just blah-blahing when they play. You know, just blah. You know, just random stuff, who cares, right? And my answer to that question, please stay with me before I just shut this video off. My answer to that question is yes. Sometimes, in my experience, I cannot document this in a scientific way because you can't tell if a person is invested in what he plays or not. But that's what I sense because I don't get anything from what he plays. It's just, I don't care. And it doesn't matter if I'm listening to fusion or pop. I want the same kind of emotional experience. Yes, I listen to pop. I want the same kind of emotional experience no matter what it is that I'm listening to. And sometimes it feels like they're just blah-blahing. And what is blah-blahing? Well, it's basically just using your craft of firing off patterns in your brain. You know, just stuff that your fingers knows how to do. And it's really important to get to that point where you can do that. Right? It's because then you can focus on playing music. Instead of focusing on the mechanics of just producing the notes and knowing where the scale shapes are or the arpeggio shapes, you can actually just be with the music and really play something that you absolutely love. Because it takes 2 things to play any good solo, improvised solo. You need to be very good at your craft, and then you need to infuse that, every note you play, or every phrase you play, with passion and enthusiasm. And you need to set a high standard. You have to move yourself as you're playing. If you're not moving yourself, then how can you move people? Why do I have to move people? Well, you don't, right? By all means, listen to music that doesn't move you. Listen to the most complex, inaccessible 12-note jazz and get a lot of significance from it. Because you're the only one listening to it, so it must be very special, right? Oh, sorry, that's the way, that's really, if you got pop music there and you got the most inaccessible music like 12-note free jazz where everybody's improvising in the band, then as less and less people are listening to the style of music that we have out here, the more significant they feel because they become very special, right? That's the mechanism within us. That the fewer people actually interested in it, the more special you are if you're interested in it. But it's also the emperor's new clothes, right? That maybe as you go out there into the darkness of no melody or no coherence in the music, you also lose the emotion. So when it comes to pop music, there's no mercy. Either you move me or you don't. If you don't move me, and it has to be a hit song, right? If you have to move me, or it's no good. And when we get to rock music, some people derive some significance from that because it's a little special compared to pop. Very many rock players look down on pop, right? Because it's more significant. It's more complex. We use more chords in rock music. It's a more complex form of music, right? And so already there, the mechanism happens. And then as we move to more and more complex, it gets more and more special. And you can derive more and more significance from your identity from listening to it, right? And then you perhaps forget sometimes that, it was about the emotion in the beginning. And that's where fusion it's easier to hide in music like that. Because there's a lot of people in the audience who don't care if they're moved or not. Because I'm in that cafe with those 5 people in the audience who's listening to this totally special, totally unique, inaccessible music for most people. So I'm very, I hope you get my drift here. I heard John McLaughlin once say, I'm a very big fan of his, and he once said about some special far out Indian music with very special rhythms or very complex rhythms. He says that must be the highest form of music. And I was just blown away by the unenlightenment in that statement. Seriously, you think there's a higher and a lower form of music? That is just bah! Because then suddenly, what is it that you derive from playing the music you do? Is that totally an emotional thing about you just love it? That's what I'm all for, right? When it comes to me. Or is it a significance thing, like... Right? And it just blows my mind how somebody would trade the significance thing for the actual emotional thing. And fusion, I love fusion. And there's lots of players in there that's just producing the most amazing solos. And there's lots of players, in my perspective, in my experience, that are not. That are automated in their pattern. And that goes for rock music as well. I got, bands that's been successful for 20 years. And I got guitar players who's just doing their job. Who's just producing that solo, using the same tools, the same phrases and licks that they've been using for 20 years. They never get new inspiration, they're not moving anywhere, and they're not focused when they play. At least that's my experience. I can't scientifically tell that they aren't focused. So the answer is yes. And my best advice is to learn the craft like a maniac, right? Go all in, use all the tools and learn all the tools you can and never stop. Because once you stop, your playing style becomes concrete. It's like it dries up like concrete and becomes hardened. And you start repeating yourself over and over again. So you want to learn constantly. And when you play, you want to set a super high standard when you play solos. Move yourself. If you can play a solo without feeling your emotions react to what you play, it's crap. Sorry, it is. If you just, I'm using the flat 9 and I'm doing who cares, right? You have to okay, that's an amazing solo on an emotional level, right? And if you do that, if you set a high standard and you make sure that when you play, you're absolutely, completely into what you play and play with the greatest amount of passion. How do I do that? Well, you must have all your tools be unconscious, right? You must be able to play what it is you want to play easily. And even when you speak, because then you can go... And then everything you play because of what you just played. Because you're talking music, right? You play... Whatever it is, right? You're in it, and you can't allow, or you can't afford to not be present when you improvise. So when I see players, we're on a gig, and then we're doing stuff, and we smile into the other players, and we're doing up tempo, and we go, what's going on up there? Yeah, it's good. Just adjust my volume. The chord's good. And you're just playing. What is that? Right? Is it like a person who's out to do a talk, and then he does the talk, and then he just keeps on talking while he's looking for something on the floor that has nothing to do with the whole talk he's doing. Just, and, don't hide between any style of music. Really do what you can, because it's the most fun. Play for real. Play to really make a difference in you and others. And you can do whatever you want. That's just my point of, my experience about what I like and what's most important in this game. And you can do with it whatever you want. And you're very welcome to write comments underneath this video, positive or negative, and continue the discussion. And it's not that like you should do something or shouldn't do something. I'm just telling you how I experience it. And how you can sometimes hide in something that's very significant or a higher form of music without really contributing anything or much on the emotional level. And I forgot to say that we have a new program out that's called Lydian Fusion Exposed that has insights on how to really produce that fusion sound, how to play the Lydian mode and Lydian augmented mode even with the melodic minor. So it's a really cool next step for any rock player who wants to add that to his playing style. Those are the words. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.